beautiful souls wherever you are in the world. Today it's another beautiful Tuesday and the newest episode of the Truth Runners Talk Show. I'm your host, Christina. And today, as always, I have an amazing, wonderful, extraordinary guest with me. And I would love to introduce to you Tracy Shearer. Thank you so much, Tracy, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Christina.
I was so excited when you picked the team, and I said, okay, that's gonna be something what I really would enjoy. So you guys, if you are tuning in now live or watching later on in the replay, please pay attention. We're gonna learn a lot today about yoga. But first of all, let me introduce to you our beautiful guest, so you know who we are talking to. So Tracy, she's an AADB board certified holistic health practitioner, certified holistic nutrition, health and wellness coach, graduate of the T. Colin Campbell Foundation plant-based nutrition certification program at Cornell University. She is a graduate of the yoga teacher training programs at the Kaivalya Yoga Method Academy and the Yogamu Institute Global Yoga Teaching Academy. Now, not only that, but she's a 500-hour registered yoga teacher with Yoga Alliance and a 200-hour certified meditation teacher with Meditation Alliance International. Tracy is recognized as a certified practitioner with the Complementary Therapist Accredited Association for International Services, and she uses her platform Flourish with Tracy to promote self-care, to help people to eat better, move better, and live better. And we're going to learn a lot from her today. So welcome again, Tracy. I'm really happy. I'm grateful and humbled for having you here.
Thank you, Christina. I am honored to be here, and you picked a great subject, yoga. It's my passion. Uh, the subject is healing, and it totally healed and changed my life and led me on the path to where I am today.
Wow. Before we go into the topic and we talk really about the healing power of yoga, I would love to ask you. Yes, I did introduce you. We have all the certificates and all the beautiful things and the hours of yoga what you did. Wow, that's itself, it's amazing. But I really would love to know who is the real Tracy?
The real Tracy is the person who actually I walk my talk. I'm a yogi. And you see the real Tracy is a person who is healed, and it is from yoga. It's just I what you see is what you get. I'm just down to earth. I embrace walking and living my truth, and I can say that because I wasn't always the real Tracy. I used to hide behind the facade of who Tracy was. It was what I was projecting, is what I thought people wanted and needed to see. How I dressed, how I wore my hair, how I carried myself in a business world, very corporate based Tracy. So that's who I was. And then once I discovered my truth and started walking in my truth, I no longer cared about the facade. And it is what it is, and you're going to get what you get. And I am who I am, and it's my truth. So if you don't align with that, then that's okay. Go ahead and discover your own, and don't worry about me. I'm okay over here. So that's who I am. I'm just a down to earth, um, just as natural as I can possibly be. That's who I am.
And you are amazing. And thank you so much for sharing that. And yes, I completely, totally agree with you because you guys just put in the chat. Are you wearing a mask when you are out there in the world? Or are you the real you, showing up as who you are authentically? Because for me, for Tracy, it took some time to get there. But then when it clicks, when it comes that, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm just gonna be me. Then actually when life starts, then when actually everything is gonna change. Do you agree with that?
I totally agree. So if you think about, there's a saying that says, "Oh, don't go against the grain." If you think about wood, if you're trying to sand wood or shape wood, it's more difficult when you go against the grain. But when you go with the flow, the natural flow and growth pattern of the wood, it's smooth, isn't it? So if you think of yourself as that wood, when you are going in your truth with the flow and you're not trying to be or do anything that you are not, it's going to be easy. But the minute you're trying to go against your truth, it's always going to be a struggle and a difficult journey for you.
That's true. So you said you've been in corporate. Now you are teaching yoga. Yoga is everything. How the transition happened from corporate world, which is, we are that rigid, you have to, you must conform, word, to a completely different free word, which is the word of yogis.
Totally stressed out.
This is how it happens.
This is how it happened. Stress. I was extremely successful in my corporate life. Very, very successful. I was winning all kinds of awards. I had a very lucrative career. I was compensated very nicely, but it wasn't who I was. I was just doing what I was in a financial business, and I always hated numbers and math growing up. So what in the heck am I doing in the middle of a financial company? Why am I doing this? This is not what I am. It's not what I was so stressed. So when I turned 40, I had an epiphany. Like, this is it. I know that I can no longer do this anymore. I was nowhere near retirement age, but I just did not know what I was going to do, but I knew what I could no longer do, which was what I was doing. So I left with zero idea of what I was going to do next. And I started consulting because that's what I did. So I went to sell my consulting services to a small nonprofit school, and they were so small that they really didn't have the budget to afford me as a consultant. However, they asked if I could maybe just come at a smaller rate to help where I could see there. So that being said, I started developing programs for this school. Budget was so tight. What can I stick in this little space to help out, enhance the program? There was a yoga teacher who was willing to come and teach the teachers and the kids at a rate that we could afford. No idea what that really was about. All I was still thinking numbers in my old life. Let's do it. Well, that one act led to everything I'm doing today. I noticed the change in the teachers, how they engage with each other. I noticed the change in the children. I noticed the children calmed down when they started learning how to meditate. I noticed there was more teamwork and team building. I noticed myself started calming down. So the next thing I know, I decided the next time I invite a yoga teacher in, I'm going to take a class too. So I started taking the classes with the teachers and the students, and just calm came over me. And then that was great. When I left the school, I left it there. I didn't think anything else of it. I started getting sick though. Like, all of those other years of stress and not eating properly, not taking care of myself, led to disease and ailment. And it was after coming out of having to have surgery that I realized I needed to move. So I started stretching, and then the idea of yoga came back to me. I started looking at yoga classes online and on television, and I fell in love. And I realized there's so much more to yoga than just stretching. The stretching is the asana part. That's the very beginning stage. There's so much more to the world of yoga. The very first thing that stuck to me is the study. We'll talk a little bit more about it. Is the yamas and the niyamas. It's the governing part of yoga, and ahimsa, non-violence, non-harming. That just spoke to me and led me to change how I consume and eat, and that changed my health. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to learn. And that's what got me going down that path and literally changed everything that I do. And that's how I got to where I am today.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I love what you said about yoga is much more, right, than what people think. It's about stretching and doing the asanas, when deep breathing and, yoga, that's kind of boring, right? But it's
Yes,
so much more than that. It's so much more than that. And you mentioned nutrition, that along and a lot of other things. So would you love to go a little bit deeper and share what yoga is exactly? Who is a
yes.
yogi? Who is a yogi? What is I'm a yogi.
Everyone is a yogi. Everyone is a yogi if they choose to embrace it.
Thank
So
you.
let me just tell you that. So everyone, whether they practice or not, they've heard of, oh, yes, yoga is mind, body, and soul. And it is mind, body, and soul. But there are two additional factors that I think we don't realize. There's also chemical and there's governing. Governing is moral based. How do we live um, ethically?
Mhm.
And those are two other components of yoga that I don't think people realize exist. So the physical part we know, it's really the movement of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the nerve that is key to our physical body. It taps into our parasympathetic system, which is the system, the side of us that calms and cools us down. The vagus nerve controls how we eat and breathe and how our cardiovascular systems work, how all of our digestion works. All of that's the vagus nerve. And that's where yoga lives. That's the line that goes up and down our body, whether we are in fight or flight or whether we are in cool down and at rest, all of those things are there. That's the vagus nerve. And the part of that we don't realize, though, the chemical piece is, well, how does the vagus nerve begin to work or not work?
Mm.
It's because the practice of yoga, the asana, as well as the mental piece, the restorative calming down of the mind, brings about a change in your cortisol levels. Cortisol is the stress hormone. So the more you lower it, the more calm you will become. And it also increases, so as the cortisol comes down, it's going to increase the oxytocin, which is the hormone of safety and trust. So once you lower the stress, you will raise the level of awareness of what calms you down. So that's the chemical portion of the body that we don't talk about. When we talk about grounding, people hear about grounding a lot. So we're electrical conduits. So when you go outside, if you think of that vagus nerve or even the sciatic nerve in the body, like a cord, and it goes through your feet into the ground, you're grounding. Like if you plug something in, you have that third circuit to calm down so that you don't over heat up, right? You don't want to blow out your circuits. That's a portion that we don't talk about. And then the mindful part of yoga, we know about the mindful part. It's the meditation, it's mental clarity, it's reducing the stress, sleeping better. And then that ties sometimes into the spiritual piece, right? The soul part of it, your personal devotions or your personal spirituality, not religion. If you wish to practice religion when you're in that state of mind, you can, but that's really not what yoga is. Yoga is not religious. It's about embracing what's called the equanimous mind. And the equanimous mind is quiet. It's letting go all of those things because we love to get in our head and let thoughts go all over. And it's about a sense of completeness and balance. And then the governing part that we don't talk about, the moral base. So how do you eat? There's a type of eating in yoga called sattvic eating, and that's like a whole food, plant-based type of eating. If you think of governance, how are you eating the food that you eat?
Mhm.
Was there harm that came about when that food was prepared? But it's also nonviolence means no anger, no aggression, embracing a walk of peace in everything you do, re- responding instead of reacting to something, thinking and calming down before you open your mouth sometimes helps. Being truthful, are your words truthful? Are your actions truthful? Are you going with or against your grain? Don't steal. And so most of us are not thieves. So when we think of not stealing, that's what comes to mind. But stealing also means being respectful of other people. Don't steal their time. Be respectful of other people's time. Don't steal other people's energy or their ideas. Um, be cleansed and clean in what you do. Have a clear space around you. Don't be cluttered. All of those things hold energy, and they may hold things that no longer are serving to you. They may be draining you. Purity in what you do. Being content and happy, not being greedy. Be happy as you are, where you are. Being self-disciplined, and it's okay to be a continuous student and say, I don't know something. um, and looking in the mirror and being truthful with yourself. You need to check yourself on that right there. You might want to fix that. Um, and so all of those things come into play. So that really is what yoga is. It's everything you do in your life. And so if someone says, I don't practice yoga, I am sure out of everything that I just mentioned, everyone here can check yes to at least one or two things on this list. It's quite a list, right? But if you just do it and it's your truth, it's easy to do because it's how you're living your
Oh, wow. I could stay here and listen to you
life.
kind of forever, I'm telling you. Let me just take a moment to acknowledge. Thank you very much, guys, tuning in. We've got Kenya. Hi, Priyanka. Hi, Namaskar. I loved your comments. If you have any questions, just please feel free to share to us. Tracy, we've got Tracy, so please just feel free if you have any questions regarding yoga, healthy eating, or even meditation. Which reminds me, by the way, I believe today is International World Meditation Day. By the way, so
It
we picked
is.
so we picked the perfect day for the topic. And I
We
would love to
did.
go back just for a second for what you were saying about yoga. It's really about calming down the mind, right? Because
Yes.
let's face it, in nowadays, and I'm seeing it around me, right? And you're seeing it around you. It is very, very difficult. People find it very difficult to sit down and sit still. It's very
Yes.
difficult to sit still because we always find something to do, playing on the phone, drinking water, doing something, but not sitting still. And what I'm hearing you saying is that yoga literally, it's far much more than the asanas, the poses, the exercises, the stretching. It's about calming down your mind, right? It's about grounding. It's about being in the present moment. And it's about teaching how to be mindful. This is what I'm hearing you
Yes.
saying.
Yes.
Well, because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we know how to be mindful. It's not a skill what we have to learn. It's something what we have to bring forward, and we can do that through yoga. Correct?
Yes. Yes.
And you were talking about nutrition. Would you love to go a little bit on nutrition, on healthy eating? Because again, this is something what is really, really important. I guess what we eat, how we eat what we eat, when we eat what we eat. And for me, this is because we are rushing. I I'm gonna be very honest, guys. I preach. That's why I don't preach about healthy eating. Okay, I let others to do that because I'm not doing it. I preach about other stuff, what I do, but not healthy eating. But that's why I have today Tracy with me. Talk about
so
healthy.
so so um a way to eat whole food plant-based probably is the most easiest way to describe it.
Mhm.
It's called sattvic eating. It's eating foods that are high in nutrients. It is low processed. It is no caffeine. It's no alcohol. It's things that help sit well with your body. And we all have different body types. We have, and so those different body types respond to different foods in different ways. Like some people may eat a pepper, for example, and if they love it, they can eat as many peppers as they wish. Other people may eat the pepper and get indigestion. So because you have different body types, and those are called doshas, and that's a whole nother conversation. But how you respond to different foods and different temperatures around you is part of the physical portion of it. So when you eat, so to make it easy, you can break your sattvic or plant-based eating into three categories. One is that represents harmony and balance. That's the ideal state. That's sattva. And then rajas is or I maybe pronounced it incorrectly, rajas. It's activity and movement. But too much of that, while you're combining it with what you're eating, is going to have you stressed. So that's the fast eating that you're talking about. It's that food tends to be quick, fast, and in a hurry. It's overstimulation. It's over pleasure placating type of food. It's over excitement. So you're rushing it down, and that may lead to some of the ailments that you have in your physicality. That's going to impact how you can calm down. How can your body calm down when it's trying to process all of that?
Mm.
Um, you can't be completely mindful. And then the third one is the emotional, it's called tamas. It's the emotional eating and food that's attached to the foods, and that's when you're eating for comfort, or you're eating anytime you have any type of oh, I feel totally happy, let me eat something. Oh, I'm really depressed, let me eat something. Oh, I'm really stressed, let me eat something.
Mm.
And you're disassociating the whole purpose of the eating. The purpose of the food is to just provide fuel and nourishment to the body so that the body can function. But that's all it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be all of these other things. Then the next step is the asana. When you try to go into the physical portion of yoga, you may not be able to do so because you haven't properly digested all of the food, or the food is making you ill. And so you can't practice the way you wish. The whole purpose of the asana, the physical portion of yoga, is to help the body be more flexible, to be
Mhm.
able to quiet down and sit still so that you can practice the beginning, the true state of yoga, which is the mental, it is the meditation. So, see how we just went full circle all for eating? Meditation is the path to your true yoga path, your true yoga self, I should say. So that's what all that's how one thing connects to the
Oh wow. It's
other.
no, it's amazing. I mean, it's fascinating because I asked you about food and you went a full cycle, a full circle, which is really pretty amazing because we never think about how, what we eat and how we eat can affect, and that goes around and goes circles. So that's why I really admire people like you who just, you take the time and you learn it and you do it and you live it. And I mean, guys, come on. Are we learning today? We are learning today a lot. I'm sure I do. I must confess, I used to do yoga. I do sometimes, even now, but home yoga, doing by myself, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stretch a little bit. So I must confess, I'm a little bit lazy on that one. However, I've been always fascinated about y- yogis. Okay, I ask you about yogis, how they do it and how they are. Mm, I wouldn't even use the word passionate because that's not really a passion. That's a lifestyle. This is how it's
It's
a
a
lifestyle.
lifestyle.
It's in your blood already. This is how you do it. It comes naturally after a while, is it?
Yes, and so it goes back to, like I said, everyone practices. So again, when most people think of yoga, they think of the physical portion. I like to call it, people like to say bending into a pretzel. And that's fun, but that's not what it is. That's only a small portion of it. Um, so thinking about the full circle once again, you can practice just sitting as we sat. Like before we started, the two of us took a moment to connect to our breath, to just calm things down. That was practicing yoga. So if you think about it, everything connects to the other. They're dependent and interdependent upon each other. What you eat, what you consume, whether that's social media, television, reading, people you're around, what you smell, all of the things that you take in impact your physical body and your ability to move and how well you move. And so if you are not able to be flexible,
Mm,
then if you are in and you're consuming an environment that is stressful, raising the cortisol level,
mm,
tapping into the fight or flight side of your body, which heats you up and keeps you in stress mode, then you're not going to be able to get to the portion where you wanted to quiet the mind, which is what you said. So, what I suggest to a person who is in that cycle and they quite can't break it yet, where to begin? Begin with the quiet mind. If you can't quiet your mind and you're trying to sit in meditation and you're there, and as soon as you get there, your mind starts going, oh, I gotta go to the grocery store. Oh, I gotta go put gas in the car. Oh, I forgot to put the dot on the top of the I in that sentence, or a period at the end of that sentence. Go with that. Lean into those thoughts and just imagine those thoughts. perhaps as swaying. Like you can just close your eyes and maybe you can see all these thoughts and feel them sway and feel your body swaying with those thoughts. The more you start focusing on those things, there's no new thoughts coming in because there's no space because all of your attention is on the thoughts that came up. And if one does pop in, just watch it sweat. Watch it. See the movement of the actual thoughts. And then you'll realize that you're external to the thoughts. The thoughts can then float away, they can sway away, and then you will have calmed down without even realizing it. And then once you begin to calm down, then you maybe reconnect to the breathing. And then the breathing will help the physical portion. And then if you haven't completely digested your food yet, you will begin the process of digestion because now the body's calm. And that's how you tie it all back together. So it's always a continuous cycle of tying everything together, tying everything together. But again, they go like this.
Together. Everything is always together. Everything is always just one. It goes to
It's,
one. It's
yes,
always one. No matter from which part you go, it comes always back to one.
yes, and it's no right or wrong way,
Or
I
wrong.
should say, unless it's something negative. But for the most part, you can't go wrong. It's you.
Mm,
It's you. And how you what's right for you is could be different for somebody else. That's why there's so much versatility within yoga. There are different styles and types of yoga.
you just read
Um,
my
and
mind.
that and that's the asana portion, the physical part. What speaks to you? What do you need for your body to calm down? So what type of yoga works for you? Great. The point of all of that, again, is to get you to the point where you can and begin to just sit, just sitting. When people ask me to start teaching yoga, I've never done yoga before. The very first pose that I teach them is mountain, tadasana, just standing still. And they are already, they want to bend all kinds. Nope, just stand still because you will find so many people have so much difficulty just standing still.
Mhm.
So that I literally gave you the easiest and the hardest all at the same time. But if you can master just standing still, quietly and breathing, you are practicing yoga. Everything else is icing on the cake.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Exactly. That's what, like we were talking, right? That it's very difficult for people to stay still, yet you just shared a very, very simple and powerful, yet not that simple, but still powerful yoga exercise. Let's put it that way for the simplicity. I would love to ask you, yes, you were talking, actually, you just read my mind because my next question would be okay, there are many types of yoga, different types, different names, and then you mentioned about different types of yoga. What is it that you are practicing and teaching? And I also would love to go there because you have 500 hours and 200 hours. And for me, that sounds like a lot of hours of yoga. So let's go a little bit on the
I am told
science.
that, okay, so there are different types. So, high level, for example, I have a personal practice, which is my personal devotion, my whole spiritual piece, like my piece. What makes me just tickle is
What makes you
Kundalini.
you?
Kundalini is my style. That's my personal style. And I usually don't teach it. I've been learning it and I have certification in it, but it's personal for me. It's for me, it's tapping into the energy centers, the Kundalini, which starts at the base of our root chakra, and it begins to travel up. And so it's just, I love it. It just, that's what when I need to bring out my sponge and just calm down and start all over. And that's where I go. I go deep in that. That is a more spiritual type of practice, and some people that doesn't resonate for them. Some people need something a little more physical. I teach Ashtanga, and it's a little more. Um, more movement, definitely a little more heated up type of yoga. It is based in um, uh, sun salutation is the baseline for everything. And you will find some form of sun salutation in an ashtanga. You're definitely going to break a little sweat in an ashtanga. There's specific postures that you're always going to use. But also there's a bhakti yoga, there's a hatha yoga, there is some people call it hot yoga. There's a vinyasa, which is more flowy and more dancing,
Okay.
and so there's different types. So I tell people try go to different classes,
Mhm.
see which you will know the difference when you go to one. You go, oh, this feels amazing, and this is so that's where you are, and you can do this. So I say that Kundalini is my personal practice, but I will say it sneaks in because it's who I am. It's my truth. It sneaks into some of the other styles. So in every class that I teach, I do have an aspect of there is first come in and settle, get yourself settled. Like we have so much going on, just take a moment to quiet down, and then we do a small warm up. We set an intention. An intention, sometimes it's group set, it's personally set. We have a theme that goes on in the class. Then we'll go through the postures, and then we're always going to end. I always end classes with some sort of meditation. And meditation could just be quiet time in Savasana, which is the corpse pose where you lie, or it could be where I take you on a journey. Sometimes we need a story to help us get where we need to be, to take our mind away from the grocery list and fueling up the car. So I will do a guided meditation, which is a little journey to someplace that feels good. And then we have a when you come back up to I guess the consciousness, and then you're ready to go on your day, but you're walking away um, ready for your day because you are you've taken things down a couple of notches. So that's a little bit about different styles of teaching.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I am familiar with Hatha Yoga and I'm familiar with Ashtanga, what you are teaching as well. And let's go a little bit on your 500 and 200
Oh,
hours. And
oh, so I can talk a little. Now, I forgot to also mention pranayama, which is your breath. That is solely focused on breath. There may be some asana associated, but it's all about your breath work, which is so, so key and critical in what we do. But the hours, so I've been practicing yoga for over 20 years now. I've been teaching for 14, and I went back to school 5 to 6 years ago to actually back up what I've been doing.
there's always something more,
Yeah,
right?
always something more to learn, and I'm still learning. And so I started off with my 200 hours, and then I went back for my continuing studies, and then went to the 500 hours. And then again, because Kundalini just speaks to me, I have an additional 100. I studied that, and my goal is to get the 500 studied hours in Kundalini as well. And then I started the meditation. I like meditation a lot. It because if you can do nothing else, you can sit and be quiet for a moment and connect to your breath. And I really, really appreciate that. And so many businesses, schools, every day, everybody needs an opportunity to know how to just be quiet for a moment and to not feel guilty about it. It's okay to
Mm,
close your eyes and just connect to your breath. So I wanted to learn more about the different type of meditation modalities, which is why I went back for that additional certification, and I'm very grateful for it because, like I said, I can just focus on the breath in the meditation, or take you on a journey. Let's visualize something pleasurable. We can connect to all five of your senses in a meditation. We can do what's called metta, which is loving kindness. We can do japa, which is where you say the same mantra or chant over and over again. It could be an affirmation, and you usually count down with beads. And so there's so many different styles. But going back to get the education in meditation allows me to be able to practice the different styles and types with seekers.
okay. Uh, Okay, I have a lot of questions though. So let's just, let's just go. Number one, you were talking really about breathing and about mala meditation and a lot of things. So I can go back to a lot of things. I'm gonna be here until tomorrow morning. So let's just pick one. I'm gonna say about breathing, just one quick short that we truth to be told, the reason why I love yoga and I love what you are doing because 99.9% of the population we don't breathe properly. We don't know how to breathe. We take the breath only up to here, right? Whilst in yoga, you really teach how to breathe naturally, how to breathe properly. But what I would love from you is I know for a fact that you have now your own program and people who resonate with you, and I'm sure you guys you do because oh my gosh, she has beautiful energy. Tracy, you have a beautiful energy. Would you love to share about your program and what's coming up for you and what is it that you are offering right now?
Yes, thank you. So I do coach people one on one. It could be what fills your cup. And if your cup is not filled, what's draining it, and let's address it. And so that could be nutrition, it could be your physicality, it could be you need meditation and stress reduction and mindfulness. So we do one on one coaching, and that could be anything from just me coaching and giving you a course of action and then we check and align and assess with those things. And I've helped people successfully do things from change careers to lose or shed weight to reduce their stress. So we have all of those going on. People can consult with me one on one and we can come up with your own personal plan. Sometimes I do one on one yoga sessions as well, I do meditation sessions. I also, however, teach on other platforms. I do workshops and presentations and all of those things. I also am able to, I do corporate wellness. I teach meditation and yoga for organizations, both profit and nonprofit. I go in and help the employees of the organization tap into being able to calm down. People who are calm and able to think and to respond before they immediately just react are more productive. People who are calm and know how to meditate and hydrate properly are more productive in a work environment. So that's a benefit add as well. Studies also show that students who are able to meditate, there are less behavioral issues or need for after school detentions and things such as that. So those are some of the things that I do. What I'm most proud of right now is I'm partnering with Priyanka Devi Gupta, and she is also a yoga
You're
teacher.
watching us, Priyanka. That's why you're there.
Hi,
Love it.
Priyanka. And the two of us are excited to offer this year. We are going to be teaching an online yoga teacher training certification program. It is a
Woo!
6 month program. Thank you. And it is not your typical online course where you go in and you click a couple boxes, you read a couple things, and you take a couple online quizzes. This is a little bit different. It is a hybrid of actually sitting with a mentor and a teacher and then still taking some of the course curriculum at your own pace. Priyanka and I will be meeting with you and we will be teaching weekends at least once a month for 6 months, and you will be going through uh, different modules. And we're teaching not just asana and how to be a teacher, but we're also going into yoga philosophy and history, mythical stories behind yoga, how to set up your own business as a yoga teacher, how to theme a class, how to properly cue, how to assist someone who needs assistance, variations of postures, anatomy. I'm trying to remember everything. It's really packed. And then once you are done, you will be able to teach. And it is a 200-hour Yoga Alliance approved curriculum. And we are providing this curriculum through Ever Limitless Shakti Yoga Academy. And so we are so excited. And then we are in the process of working with Embody Yoga. We are looking at offering a postgraduate immersion in Costa Rica. So we are very excited to put this together. We are accepting scholarships as well. We'll be offering two scholarships. People can go to my website, Flourish with Tracy, .com, or they can go to Priyanka's website, yogawithpriyanka.ca, and get all of the information there. There's payment plans, and then there's mentoring. So if you even if we are not in our physical weekend class live, and you have a question, no problem. You can reach out and we can have a one-on-one mentoring session. We will be with you along the way and you will be ready to teach. We are going to be assigning study buddies. We're just so excited. And this curriculum is in between Vinyasa and Bhakti, which they're cousins. They're almost the same type of teaching. So you will be able to teach and you'll be exposed to chakras. You'll be exposed to experimenting. And we talked about what type of yoga speaks to you. So you'll get a chance to practice the different styles of yoga. Excuse me, to see what do you want to teach. Whatever that is, whatever shows up for you is what you'll be able to teach when we're done with the curriculum.
That sounds like an amazing program. So you guys, if you're watching this live or you're gonna watch the replay, I really, really would highly, highly recommend just reach out to Tracy, find out, or visit her website, which is www.flourishwithtracy.com. Did I get it right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in the chat and in the description as well, so you can reach out to her, because I'm telling you that if you learn yoga and if you take nothing else, just you learn how to breathe and meditate, then you already have something. And you mentioned about chakras, and I realized, oh my goodness, we didn't even talk about the chakras, and we didn't even go in a lot of other stuff today. So there is so much more. It is so much more to
Yes.
life, guys, really, than just stress. And Tracy really just shared today one of the most amazing and most, let's face it, simplest ways how you can calm your mind, how you can bring the balance. Am I correct, Tracy? We can bring the balance back in our lives with yoga.
And the one thing I'd like to say that you are absolutely right. You can do it yourself. You don't have to be or do anything other than just learning to sit still and just breathing. You can do it. We all can practice yoga and we all practice some form throughout our lives at any time. Even if you go to a gym, you'll find people, oh, we're going to stretch. Yoga is not stretching, but some of the form of a stretch is incorporated into some of the asana. Or you'll hear people say, okay, you know what? Let's just take a deep breath first.
Yeah.
That's a form of yoga. Or, you know what? Let me take a drink of water first to clear. Let me clear my mind. Like we say all of these things and we affirm things too. We say things all the time and don't realize that's the origin. That's where it all comes from. You go, oh, really? I do? Yeah, you do. You do it all the time.
That's
You just
beautiful.
didn't know.
Exactly. That's so, oh my God. So we do without knowing that we are doing it. Yes, Priyanka, please feel free. Just put your question in the comments, and we're going to ask Trace the question. In the meantime, I know that our time is, but can we just quickly, please, just touch a little bit? Oh, thank you. Exactly the same. I was, how do you teach chakras to people who are religious practitioners? There we go.
So I'm
Because I was
actually
about
te-
to ask about chakras. Thank you, Priyanka. You guys are mind readers today.
I'm actually teaching a course right now for a nonprofit organization, The Journey Through the Checklist. And I teach the class, I start with um, the origin. What is an energy center? And I break down it from an anatomical perspective, energy centers within our bodies. And when you think about energy centers, um, we have so much going on within our bodies. Each little portion is broken into like a main a category. And so if you think about it like that, each category is responsible for something. So one's responsible for our speech and our voice and what we say. One is responsible for our thoughts, our hearts, and our creativity. So that's how I break down each chakra. Each has a responsibility. Then each is associated with a color. What's the symbolism behind it? What happens if it's blocked? So if you find you're having difficulty in this area, maybe that's why this chakra needs to be addressed. And then what foods are associated with it, and then what you can do to, I guess, alleviate it and clear it so that you can flow freely. But we also, so that it doesn't become just me talking, it's an interactive course. We can color, we can draw, we can make pictures, we can journal. I story tell. So I tell a story, and all of the features of the chakra is weaved in the story. And the fun part is, can the class figure it out based on the class, the information I gave? Can you find all the clues in the story? And then we do an asana, with all of the postures that are associated with the chakra. And then finally, we do a meditation. And that's the class. And we do one for each of the chakras. And that detail, and on, that's just about, it's a 1 hour class. I believe it's a 6 week course. That entire course, expanded, is included in our yoga teacher training program as well.
Oh, wow, but that sounds like an amazing, amazing course. And thank you so
Yes.
much, Priyanka, for the question. Thank you, Tracy, for your response. I really appreciate it. And yes, just one more tiny thought on this one. You were asking about about religious practitioners. Guys, yoga, spirituality in itself has really nothing to do with religion. You can still practice. It's completely different. It's different. It has nothing, really nothing to do with religion. It's about
No.
you. It's about your well-being. It's about your personal development. It's about you finding your path, finding your voice, and finding your own balance. It has nothing to
Yes.
do with religion. Okay, so let's just make it
No.
very clear.
And I get this question a lot. People ask me, well, why am I meditating? Because I pray all the time. And so this is how I answer that question. When you pray, which is that, if that's your religion and your devotion, what are you doing? You are talking, you're the voice, you're speaking, you're asking, you're giving gratitude, you're doing whatever you're doing, but you are the voice. When you're meditating, you're not the voice, you are quiet, and you are open and listening and receiving. So, in a nice way, shut your mouth.
Shut
Just
up and
be quiet.
listen.
Shut up and listen.
No, it's simple as that, really. Just quiet the mind, quiet the ego. Your mind is the ego. It's chit chatting, it's trying to tell you, oh, that's wrong, that's right, it's black and white. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? No.
Yeah.
It's about really just say, shut up in a nice way. Okay, not like Christina did it right now. I did that at the beginning because I'm telling you, when I started to meditate, it was really, really, I found it really hard to sit still and nothing in my mind just for a minute. It was very, very hard, but then the more you practice, and I guess it's similar with everything, with meditation, with Tracy's yoga, with whoever's yoga, or every practice really, is just taking the time for yourself. It's
Yes.
about putting yourself first, sitting down, sit there for just 1 minute and just give it a try at the beginning. It's gonna okay. It's gonna work. I promise. And again, as you said, has really nothing to do with religion. When
It's
you
not.
pray, you said you talk. When you meditate, you freaking listen.
You friggin' listen, yes. And I will just say this as we get ready to close. Meditation really is the key. It's the path to the true self, and that's what yoga is. It's the journey through the self to the self. And the more you do it, the more easier it becomes, and you'll find yourself in a stressful situation, and I can't wait for everyone to get that first time they realize it. You normally realize you would react in one way, you'd be stressed out, and then for some reason, all of a sudden you go, hmm,
Mhm.
okay. So you know the same thing is happening, but you are not reacting the same way. You're more calm and you're more level-headed. You're not stressed out. You're breathing, and then you realize, wow, that didn't stress me out. Something like this used to stress me out. And I found the more I meditated, the more quiet I actually become. And like you can just jump at me, jump scare me, boo, and I'm like, okay, okay.
Sure.
So
Oh my
that's
God, I
what it.
couldn't agree more with you.
Okay, so that's what that is. But I'm okay. I'm calm about it.
Oh, that's beautifully said, Tracy. Because we are in so everybody's in that reactive mode, right? We react, react, react. And you start to meditate and calm down your mind, and you start doing the yoga and you practice and you combine the two. You will learn how to respond before you just listen.
Right, right.
So, guys, I would love to say thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for all the love and questions. And thank you very much, Priyanka and Marianne and Elizabeth and all of you who've been here today. I would love to say thank you, Tracy, for being here, for being open. I know that we have still a lot to cover. I'm very much aware of that. We just hardly, you know, scratch the surface a little bit there. But yes, it was helpful. So thank you for being my guest today. I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm gonna put
Thank you.
Tracy's website and when you can reach out to her in the description, all right, as soon as this live is ended. So you can reach out to her. Please feel free to do so because I promise you will find, I believe, a very, if not one of the best uh, teachers. I wouldn't even use the word teacher, but somebody who will teach you from experience. And I love people when you teach from heart and you do not teach from books. When you teach from experience, I can be an academician and teach from books, and speak an academic language that people do not freaking understand what I'm saying. Okay, because I'm speaking from books, right?
Yeah, and
But
the yoga world, we say guides. See, we can say guides and seekers because we are all as seekers of information and guidance at some point, and then there's also an opportunity where we can return the favor and we can guide someone else who may be seeking. So that way we love each other all the time. One circle.
that's true. And so it is. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Until next time, I'm going to see you on the next episode. I'm sending you lots of love, light, and blessings. Bye for now.
Bye.